are live. Okay, let's see what we got. Morris, you want to get us started tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we come to you tonight. We ask your guidance to help us here in Boonville, and your guidance to kind of get the nation straightened out and back on the right foot. Amen.
Amen. How about a roll call?
Carter,
Here.
Venable,
Here.
Dorman, Stock, Young,
Here.
Meadows, Bozarth,
Here.
Hurt,
Here. We do have a quorum. Hearing of citizens' comments. Anybody like to speak tonight? There being none, we will move on. Approval of the minutes of the January 7th council meeting. Any changes or corrections? There being none, they will stand as submitted. Consent items, we have none. Presentation of accounts and claims.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1. For the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on January 22nd, 2019, the sum of $494,170.49. General fund, $262,135.13. Sanitation, $20,239.87. CIP tax, $12,826.46. Waterworks, $115,154.48. Capital projects, $855.29. Wastewater, $53,612.25. Tourism, $3,440.11. Gaming, $10,037.50. Parks and Water, $15,869.40. Section 2. The accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $494,170.49, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3. This ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage, first reading on January 22nd, 2019. Read for the second time this 22nd day of January 2019, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Whitney. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Carter,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Dorman,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Bozarth,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes. There being no unfinished business, we'll start off on new business. We have first readings here for 4 different bills. Do I get to read this?
you read the first one and then I'll read the ordinance.
Good, thank you. I feel so excited. First reading of bill number 2019-001, amending chapter 2 of the Code of General Ordinances regarding residing requirements for advisory boards and committees.
An ordinance of the city of Boonville, Missouri, amending chapter 2, article 7, section 2-227, and section 2-230 of the Boonville Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item B, first reading of bill number 2019-002, amending chapter 17 of the Code of General Ordinances regarding residing requirements for the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission.
An ordinance of the city of Boonville, Missouri, amending chapter 17, article 4, section 17-53 of the Boonville Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item C, first reading of bill number 2019-003, amending Chapter 18 of the Code of General Ordinances regarding residing requirements for the Police Affairs Advisory Committee.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending Chapter 18, Section 18-2 of the Boonville Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item D, first reading of Bill Number 2019-004, authorizing and approving a lease renewal agreement with Boonville Heartland YMCA.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving a lease renewal agreement by and between the City of Boonville and the Boonville Heartland YMCA Incorporated for the purposes of operating a chartered YMCA and associated activities at the Johnston Fieldhouse, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you, Teresa. Reports of standing committees. Planning and Zoning Commission,
It was canceled due to lack of agenda.
Housing Authority, Morris.
Good meeting, same, getting their job done, so everything's going fine.
Good, good, glad to hear that. Any questions for Morris? Reports of city officials, city administrator, we got some budget work to do.
Yeah, we're gonna move on with the second meeting on budget items. We've got,
Page 34,
yeah, page 40, I think.
page 40.
Start with, we're gonna talk about 3 items tonight as we work our way through the more, I guess, they're a little more transparent and easier to get your arms around, particularly without having last minute information. We're gonna do the solid waste fund, sanitation solid waste, 02, and part of the economic development and tourism. So I'm gonna do the solid waste fund, and Kate and Katie are gonna work on the other 2. So, again, solid waste fund, I wrote you just a brief paragraph there. We've kind of tried to transform that over the years. Used to be that you had to bail it out annually to a fairly significant amount, upwards of $50,000 from the general fund over the years, and we've sort of worked our way out of that situation to where it is self-supporting. For the primary thing is the contract that goes to advanced disposal, and then it also picks up 2 people, Glennon and his partner, and then also they have a couple of prisoners that help them do the mowing and so forth. So in terms of the code enforcement part, it's not the whole bit of code enforcement to do. It's primarily the weeds is what it does, the mowing. The rights of way and vacant lots and other properties, it does that. So it doesn't do the thing we've been doing by going around the wards. It doesn't do the demolitions or anything like that, but it does. There's a lot of letters that goes out for weeds annually, and we've found a way to make that a little easier on some of the chronic people, but it's still several hundred letters, is it not, Kate? And then following up and trying to get around and mow them. So that's kind of what it does. On page 41, you'll see we have a contract with Advanced Disposal. I think it was a 20-year deal, and we're moving on for about halfway on it. But there's a CPI in there, formula, which is generally tied to the CPI, and we're able to check their math on it and so forth. But on 41 and 42, you can kind of see what it is. It ends up being a 1.62% increase on the rates that we pay them, and so that translates into a number that we'll look at as we go forward. So page 43 is just the revenues that support it. There's only essentially 2 pieces of that. That's the trash charge that's on your water bill, and then we have a royalty arrangement on the transfer station for trash that's dumped and moved through there. So including ours, but they collect. Advanced has some contracts with other places, and so some of that other stuff goes through there that's not ours, which is helpful to us financially. Their budget is frankly pretty simple. On page 44, you see the page. This is all they have, one page of it. It's, like I said, we've got a couple of people up there, and they have opportunity for a little bit of overtime. They have the FICA, the health insurance, we've already talked about that, it went up some. Retirement's up a little. Workman's comp, it's shown here, and the difference probably is a little more dramatic than what it is, as you'll see as we go through. We talked about that a little bit before, in that our anniversary on that's not till the 1st of April, so it's not like we get a bill that I can tell you exactly what it is, so we have to do some projection on it. We did get a piece of information the other day, one element of the formula on the experience mod, which I think I told you I thought it was gonna go up, and it didn't change hardly at all. And that was curious, so I finally dug around enough to know that last year we were completely out of sync on this in terms of its timing. It was a calendar year thing, and our budget is the 1st of April. So you get some information, but then your last 3 months of your fiscal year is a whole another consideration. So you're kind of guessing on that, on what it can do to you, albeit it's only 25% of your year. But so we moved the anniversary to April, trying to get a little more in sync. And we still don't get the stuff as early as we could. But when we made that 3-month change, it must have not worked right in the system where they figure the experience mod. So because basically they didn't change our underlying years to calculate the experience mod, because they think we only moved 3 months. So I don't know if we're going to get a new one come the 1st of June or something like that or not. But if that stands, probably won't change this year, but it'll change next year, because the year that's going off, as I've told you, was a good year, and it's going to be replaced by a year that's not as good. So that day of reckoning has come. We might save some money in the meantime, but anyway, we plugged it in there at the amount that I think is realistic on an ongoing basis. So that'll be true probably across the board as you look at all the other departments. So, going down, obviously, if you go down toward the bottom, 3210, it's that's the bulk of the contract. Again, it's somewhat. It's not particularly volume-based, but there is some ups and downs with it. And this year, we probably came in a little under budget for whatever reason. There's some commercial charges in here as well as the residential. The residential pretty constant, but the commercial is different. So mostly the line items leading up to it, there's little or no change in them. In terms of the operating expense, including the insurance, the machine maintenance, the fuel. We had a pretty good year on fuel this year. But I'm not going to crank that down any lower, given the volatility of oil. The other thing of note is on the machinery and auto equipment down at the bottom. You see we've got 20,000 in there. One of the things we've tried to do is we don't spend any money on capital on the trash side, but we do on the mowing side. And we have pickups, mowers, and a number of things like that. So we've been trying to get the fund healthy enough to pick up some of its own weight on those items. And so this year, one of the things they want to buy is a pickup that they can pick up prisoners in. So they pick up 2 or 3 prisoners, so you need one that you got the back door and this kind of stuff in it. So they're going to pay for some of that. That's probably not enough to buy one of those pickups, but it's a start, and it takes the burden off of gaming, as you know, which is experience its own challenges at the moment. So we'll put them in there on that, and like I said, the fund's relatively stable at the moment. Again, it's led by the rate increase you're going to have every year from the formula, and what we might add in terms of health insurance and personnel costs, and maybe 1 or 2 of the line items that have something on there. So it ends up, our mode of operation the last few years has been like a 50-cent increase, and I think that's probably what I would suggest again this year. With the so it was about cents, I think we're at $17, so it's just a hair under 3%. And with the alliance or advance being, a little over half of that. So I think that's pretty straightforward and easy to
Any
do.
questions for Earl?
And I think Advanced has been doing pretty well of late.
Yeah.
There was a time, remember, we had some trouble, I don't know how long that was, a year, maybe more ago, but, they were on it today, everybody set their trash out yesterday, but they were on it with 2 guys in the truck and stuff like that, as well as, even during the bad weather. So, okay, that's all I have on that one. Any more questions on it, so.
Kate?
Okay, so we're gonna talk about, the capital improvement sales tax fund, but just economic development. We'll come back and visit the capital improvement projects that'll come from parks and streets and police at a later date.
45, right? 45?
Yes,
Page
page
45 and
45. The economic development is primarily funded through the CIP tax that we vote every 5 years. 5 years, I believe it is.
Yes.
Yep, 5 years. And then the other tax, the revenue source that's been helping to fund this has been the use tax that we passed several years ago. So the use tax is spread through multiple budgets to kind of help offset some of the losses that we might have seen in gaming or otherwise. So that's the primary sources of funds. You'll see the budget, the total budget is about $725, and economic development gets, if you look at page 46, $200,000 of it, so the other 500 goes towards other activities. In economic development, we support my position, and then the person who helps with economic development and code enforcement, which was Paula. It's kind of a split position and kind of general office help. And then we picked up kind of an urban gardener in an attempt to do some beautification downtown and in our parks and try to help with the parks. So that's Nick Edwards. He's also in here. So those are the 3 people. As Earl already alluded, it carries down through the overtime is just primarily Nick, when he does some stuff, and then health insurance, retirement, workers' comp. Nothing really of note to change. The only thing I'll say is that we did increase the budget item 3211, economic services. We ticked it up a little bit. The IDA and the county commissioners and Ned and Earl and myself have been kind of wrestling with what is the best and most effective way to do economic development in today's environment. And we're not sure that running it through the IDA is the most advantageous given the way the state statute is written and trying to follow what they're doing. So maybe if that's not the right vehicle, what is the right vehicle? It's also, Jim Gannis said on multiple times that he doesn't believe it's a full-time job, so that's been a challenge for us too, is kind of looking at, like, if it's not a full-time job in the city, what else can they be doing, or what should they be doing? So those issues we're all wrestling with, so we kind of just plugged a number in there, so we'll continue to support economic development at the same levels that we had been supporting it when we had the contract with the University of Missouri. So that was just our goal, was that we're doing the same thing that we've done in the past years. And I think probably some IDA people will be coming in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And we're gonna talk about it actually tomorrow. So where we're going, but otherwise it's just pretty much mainly the same.
Good, any questions for Kate? Thanks, Kate. Katie? How's Katie? Good.
Sorry.
That worked?
Starting on 47. The tourism tax funded through the lodging bed tax. It's been really pretty consistent the last couple of years. We've seen a nice steady increase. It's definitely not something that even statewide is going down at all. We're seeing a lot of in-state travel, a lot of Kansas City, St. Louis, day tripping more going on versus out of state. But still overnight destination. We make a great central spot. We've done steady with our sale of merchandise, mittens fees, rentals through the chamber and the bike shop over at the depot. On 48, the salaries include myself. I have a part-time, year-round person, Jade, but her position is now up. I'm hiring for her position. She's done, basically Friday is her last day, so. And then I have a seasonal part-time that comes in kind of April through October to kind of help fill in when we're open on weekends, 7 days a week. So that's Carolyn Howman. She's come in, helped out with us for the last 2 years, and I think she's planning to come back again this year. So it's worked out really well for her. No big changes. We don't have any really big special projects. Still continuing to work on things at the museum, and also have a couple things with special projects as far as working on adding some more lighting. We've done that year after year into putting more Christmas decorations up and kind of keep adding on to what we have right now. In addition, working on some new banners and some more beautification for downtown, and then also the Depot District as well. We had our grant meeting, and some of the ones that received grants, the Big Muddy Folk Festival and Festival of the Arts, both received $3,000. We have Babe Ruth. It's a state tournament this year. They got $2,000. The Cooper County Historical Society got $400. They are doing a it's kind of professional ancestry membership so that they can help bring people in. We get quite a few people that are doing historical research and genealogy research, and those people usually are in for multiple days, and most of them are always staying here in Boonville, so that's always kind of a great thing to add. And I wanted to help support them in that. We've left $4,800 unencumbered. We have I think I accidentally got put on the wrong line, but the futsal soccer, this year they're actually doing a new event called Cleats and Beats. It's going to be a 3v3 soccer tournament out at the new fields along with a music festival, and I think that one, they're really gaining traction and getting a lot of acts, and so that one's really should be pretty exciting, and hopefully a new annual event each year. And we still had added another $10,000 for landscaping down around the Depot District area as well. Questions?
Yeah, a quick one, maybe it's easy, but you have significantly cut your advertising from 17 to 18, and you've kept that cut basically in 19, so that cut didn't affect you?
No, because we're really pushing less print and more online advertising, which is significantly less expensive, and I think we can hit more people. Looking at our Google Analytics, we actually have like 78% of the people that find us and find our website are all on mobile devices. So I think it's really a better usage of our advertising dollars to try to push more online advertising. I had Jade put together kind of a little compilation of some of our group travel breakdown of people that we had come in this last year. Having the addition of the car museum has really been a big draw. I mean, of course, they're coming in for Warm Springs Ranch, we know that, but having, bringing them into town for having an additional stuff, we've got, itineraries that can keep them busy for a full day of activities. And so, you can see on here, car clubs, we had about 250 charters, over 600, and then just walk-in tours that we did through our visitor center. We get quite a few out-of-state groups, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Iowa, Tennessee, Florida, California, North Dakota, Montana, New York, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana. Several groups there that she listed that we worked with, as well as the different car clubs that we worked with coming in. So it's been a great addition having that car museum. and being able to have our museum. We've hosted several lunches at the museum. We do stuff on guided tours onto the bus with them, and so I think it's something we'll just keep continuing to add and keep pushing. And then with the addition of the soccer fields and the terms that come with that, I think we'll kind of be able to kind of feel that out in ways that we can, work on advertising to them more and keeping them busy while they're here in town.
Questions? Thanks, Katie. Nice work. There is a letter in the packet from Suddenlink. It talks about their new choices, and some of their fee changes. That's one of the things that, for some reason or other, comes to my desk, and I thought it probably ought to be something that other folks had a chance to take a look at. How many in the room are on Suddenlink? Yeah, just two of us, right?
Maybe for another day or two on the internet.
Oh, so you are now, though, right?
Yeah.
So
For
that's
another day or
three.
two. I just got the fiber in.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. That's a big change from the old days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when we had,
Old days was 100%.
yep, it was all of us.
Mayor,
Yep.
can I tell you a story about Suddenlink?
Please.
We decided to get rid of Suddenlink. We called them, told them, once we got everything set up, and we were supposed to box up all their stuff and send it back to them. Well, they were supposed to send us something to put on the box to send it back to them. Well, that didn't happen. My wife called and called and called. Finally, she went to the post office and mailed it to them. But the thing was, my wife's one of these that's gonna get a receipt for everything. And so she got a receipt for all this stuff. And do you know that they actually sent us to a collection agency and never sent us a bill saying that we didn't send the stuff?
Oh, my gosh.
So
They just skipped all that.
they skipped all that, my wife finally talked to their lawyer and told them, about the receipt and everything she had. They had to sign for the box when they got it there, so they definitely,
Good move.
they got it. See, I wouldn't have done that, all that, but they messed with the wrong one when
But it-
they sent us to a collection agency.
But you did say thank you to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Good plan. Steve,
Could I add something along the lines of Suddenlink?
I don't know, can
I
you?
see so many, and I got into two of them on this last snowstorm. They are horrible about getting their cable buried. And so I destroyed one up on the end of Alpine, and I'd actually, guy came in and told me about this. This was past summer. He said, what do I do about Suddenlink? He said, I can't get anybody to come and do this. So Alpine's a really tough little cul-de-sac to do, and we've got 18, so it's even tougher. So I was up there with the skid loader cleaning all that off. I found that. And then there was another one, I believe, over on Grace Lane, I found that was out in the street. So anyway, but just from the standpoint of my office, I've had several people come in and say, how do you get Suddenlink to bury their cable? So,
There was one up on Wayland, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lakeside.
Hmm?
And Lakeside.
Lakeside, too. Yeah.
There's
It's just-
probably 50 out at Herbie Twinner's duplexes out there. There's probably, by the post, there's probably 50 or 60 feet of wire just laying there. Yeah, it makes it really hard when you're trying to weed eat around the post, but it's just laying there,
Yeah.
It's like, why don't they cut it off and take it away, But I find that a lot over town.
Sounds like there's reasons that the other folks are coming in and taking over. Let's see. There's a memo memorandum, however we want to call that, starting on page 55. The council people are familiar with that. We decided to go ahead and put it on the back of the council packet so that the public can have an opportunity to go through it as well. There are a lot of pieces and parts that we're working on. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And taking the time to actually sit down and talk about them and make sure that we're all on the same page and get the pluses and the minuses of what we're trying to get done over the next few years is important. There's another qualification for the budget process we need to understand. Those that have been working for the city for a long time understand this, but we didn't get to talk about it as much when I was in council, and we did take the time to do that this time. We're actually projecting our projects, our equipment needs, the things that we want to do over more than a year. The budget reflects a year. And you've heard Earl talk about it with these setbacks. These setbacks actually have a plan to them. Oh my gosh. So it's important for those of us that are paying attention, take the time. Mr. Reserve over there, sitting next to Steve, right, Tim?
Yeah.
I mean, this is really exceptional work that's being done inside. And nobody talks about it. We don't publicize it particularly very much, but we need to understand, and our public needs to understand, we're not just working for today. We're working for 2, 3, 5 years out in order to get these projects done and get them funded. So if you haven't taken the time yet to review that, then please do. And we do have 2 public people here, right? So take the time to read that. Thank you for being here, by the way. It's nice to have an audience. Anything from miscellaneous? You say,
City clerk.
you think I would forget you?
You did.
I did. Did I forget you? Oh, look you.
One of the two.
One of the 2. City clerk, let's go there.
Okay, I have a filing update. The filing period for the April 2nd, 2019 municipal election closed at 5 p.m. on January the 15th, 2019. The following is a listing of the filed candidates and their respective wards. City Prosecuting Attorney Brad Woolridge. Ward 1 Councilman seat Michael Stock and Carissa Mays. Ward 2 Councilman seat Vanessa Dorman. Ward 3 Councilman seat Whitney Venable. Ward 4 Councilman seat Morris Carter. The ballot and any issues were required for final certification by today's date, January 22nd of 2019, which was completed. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Miscellaneous, Morris, did you have something?
I got a couple of things. First, I'd like to commend the city on their snow removal. They did an outstanding job and everything. I think the streets look real good. And the second thing is, need to remind the citizens that the sidewalks needs to be cleared off of snow, which we do have a code against that they need to be cleared off, especially around schools. I mean, we got kids walking out in the street trying to get to schools, and I think the school did a good job. They went out and cleaned off the sidewalks, I know, going to Barton, so the kids wouldn't have to walk out in the street.
Yeah.
But I would encourage all the citizens to get out and clean out their sidewalks.
Well said. Anybody else?